Hey guys, how are you? Welcome or welcome back. In case you hear a humming noise, I have my air conditioner on. It's really hot in my home and I really don't want to melt under my lights right now. So if you hear a humming noise, that's what that is. So last week we talked about creating a good protagonist. Today, we're gonna kill them. It may seem crazy to do, but it may be the best thing you could do for your novel. Shout out to Cosmos Blaze for requesting this topic. Killing your protagonist can be a tough task, but when done correctly, it'll reveal your book's most rooted themes. It can poke at your reader's most delicate feelings. Not every reader can pull it off, but hopefully these 5 steps will make it easy for you. Before I get into it, is this your first time here? Thanks for visiting me today. I'm Naley Gonzalez, author of the new adult psychic suspense novel Like My Mother Before Me. And welcome to my channel where I share tips and advice on writing, the self-publishing process, my occasional opinion on stuff going on in the writing world, and other fun writerly videos. If you're into any of that, then I recommend clicking that subscribe button and turning on notifications so you never miss a video. If you're a returning friend and subscriber, thank you so much for joining me again today. You clearly have great taste in writing videos. Alright, so you want to murder your central character. Let's get to it. Number 1, you need a reason. You can't go and kill your protagonist all willy-nilly. If your goal is to put yourself and your reader through grief, then you need some kind of intention behind the madness. I'm gonna use an example from The Great Gatsby. So if you haven't read it yet or don't want any spoilers, though I pretty much just gave one, pause the video now, go and read them, then come back. If you have read them or don't care, then in The Great Gatsby, Jay Gatsby is displayed as a grand character. He's rich, he's fancy, he hosts all-out parties every night, and he's got a lasting love for Daisy. But it's all in vain. His eventual death is forgettable, unremarkable, and holds no trace of his life or any possible good deeds he may have done. In the end, it demonstrates nothing more than the release of the egotism that was his life. For as grand as he was and how he lived, there is no legacy left behind. In life, he was surrounded by people. In death, he was alone. And that is one of the lessons and themes of The Great Gatsby. If you're aiming to kill your protagonist, you have to have a purpose behind it. Number 2, your reader must care. What does it matter if your protagonist dies and your reader doesn't give 2 shits about them? While reading your book, your reader is pretty much going on a date with your protagonist. When a date goes well, you find yourself vibing with the other person, and you'd care if they died. Depending on the reason behind their demise, your reader could be devastated, heartbroken, disappointed, sad, or maybe even proud to have known this person. Now imagine if the date wasn't any good, and they learned the other person died. It isn't so likely they'd be devastated or heartbroken. They might say that sucks, or it's unfortunate. Depending on how bad the date was, they might even say thank God. Could you imagine? That's so horrible. The point is, your reader has to like your character enough to feel something when they die. Think of Bruno from The Boy in the Striped Pajamas or Augustus from The Fault in Our Stars. Only one of them is a protagonist, but both of those deaths messed me up, and that's the point. We care about these characters and root for them, and in the end, these deaths break our hearts while serving the purpose of the story. Number 3, hint at it, or don't. Depending on the story, you may want to keep the death of your protagonist a secret, or maybe you want your reader to know right off the bat. Either way, you need to know how you're going to approach it. If you choose to make it a surprise for your reader, you have to make sure that your protagonist is the last person anyone expects to die. Game of Thrones is a rough example of this because there are quite a few protagonists in the storytelling, but from the very beginning we didn't expect Ned Stark to be killed. I thought he was gonna survive at the very last minute. That was not the case. That was literally the moment that we all realized that everyone in the Game of Thrones universe was fair game. But hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. Their death has to be the last thing expected. If you want to hint at their impending doom, roll your reader's suspicions with your writing style. Referring again to The Great Gatsby, Fitzgerald's narrator speaks of Gatsby in a eulogy-like manner prior to the man's actual death, claiming that he'd always been happy that he told Gatsby that he was a great man, better than the whole lot of them put together. While it isn't direct in saying he's gonna die, it does drop the hint that something happened or will happen. Number 4, build up the tension. Going back to The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. If you haven't read this, again, stop, go read it, then come back. If you don't care, here we go. Bruno is the son of a commander under Hitler, and they live alarmingly close to a concentration camp. Clearly nothing can go right with this. Bruno befriends another little boy who is a prisoner. Unaware of their different statuses, Bruno becomes curious of the other boy's funny looking pajamas, and they soon become friends. Eventually wanting to hang out on the same side of the fence, Smoil gets his hands on some prison clothes. I could be saying his name wrong, so forgive me, and sneaks Bruno into the camp. When there is a roundup of Jews, Bruno is mistaken for a prisoner, and the boys are taken off to the gas chamber. You have to establish the character. Bruno is an innocent little boy who just so happens to be the son of a commander working under a tyrant, or dictator, or mass murderer, but you get the point. Ensure your reader bonds with them through a series of events. Bruno makes a friend with someone who's supposedly his enemy, though he's completely unaware of the fact, and they grow close and they grow to care about each other. Obviously, we care about them, and we want good for them because they are the good in the world. And then you want to lead them to a strong literary death. And this is where our hearts are ripped out when they're both guided to the gas chamber. This is the kind of buildup you want to aim for. It's horribly tragic and almost unjust, but it proves a point. I mean, the Holocaust is completely unjust. Do not misunderstand. Lastly, number 5, pump up the tragedy. We just talked about the boy in the striped pajamas. A death done right has no need to be gruesome. It just needs to hit him where it hurts. You don't need blood and guts to create a great sense of loss. The lead up will help with that. But to put that heartbreaking cherry on top of your reader's grief, ensure the death is fitting. In Of Mice and Men, the character Lenny dies by way of gun by his friend, the only man who defended him, took care of him, and pretty much protected him. In The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, Bruno dies at the concentration camp run by his own father. In The Great Gatsby, it's his obsession with trying to impress and spoil and woo Daisy that leads to his end. You want to off your protagonist in a way that serves the story and supports the underlying theme. And those are all 5 steps to kill your protagonist. Shout out to Cosmos Blaze for asking me to cover this topic. It was a lot of fun and I hope you guys find it useful. Leave a comment if you have anything to add, or if you feel I forgot to mention anything. Give this video a like so I know to make more of them, and subscribe to my channel for more writing tips and advice. I post new videos on Sundays, so be sure to turn on your notifications to be the first to know when they're live, and follow me on social media and join my mailing list to always stay in the know of my novels and current writing projects. As always, thanks for watching. Until next time.